Run, don't crawl to go see this horror thriller. Here's my drive time review of Crawl. Crawl is the latest horror thriller from producer Sam Raimi under his production banner. He's best known, obviously, for Evil Dead franchise, Drag Me to Hell, which is one of my favorites, The Gift with Cate Blanchett. I would highly recommend that movie as well. And he was producer on Don't Breathe. If you haven't seen Don't Breathe, you have to watch that. And you literally can't breathe throughout the whole movie. It's pretty intense. And the blind man is the villain / killer. So that's a really good movie. So Crawl has Sam Raimi's fingerprints all over it. It's directed by Alexandre Aja, I believe is how it's pronounced. He's a French director. He's directed other horror movies, specifically The Hills Have Eyes, the remake, about a decade ago, I think. That was a pretty good remake. That was actually a little bit scarier than the original. I like that one. In Crawl, a young woman named Haley, played by Kaya Scandelario, goes in search of her dad during a Category 5 hurricane in Florida. Very brave woman to do that. And she ends up finding him at their old house, their family home, and he's been hurt by an alligator. So he's not able to move. So the basement starts to fill up with water, and there are a lot more alligators coming in. So those are two scary elements that you never want to be faced with. So naturally, during the movie, the pair are trying to save each other and their dog, Sugar, which is used as a stress device because you're just waiting for the time that this poor doggy is going to get eaten by the alligator. But you're hoping it doesn't, because kill any human, just don't kill the doggy. That's how it goes usually, right? And while alligators are feasting on humans in Crawl, we also have the family drama going on. Haley's dad, played by Barry Pepper, was Haley's swimming coach. And he pushed her hard when she was a kid, and he was there for her, and he would call her the apex predator to motivate her into swimming fast during the meets. And so he starts to use that to encourage Haley to swim to safety. And it's pretty funny because she even says, like, shut up, Dad, don't motivate me that way. So aside from the horror and the suspense, you have this dynamic between the two, and you have some sympathy for both of them, so you're really rooting for them to make it through, to continue this father-daughter relationship that has been broken a bit by the divorce. There's plenty of brutal deaths by alligators, and if you know anything about alligators, you know how they kill their prey, and that's what they do to humans. And wow, it was pretty graphic and shocking and scary. Crawl is one of those movies that you have to watch with an audience. The reaction as a crowd was great. It was a communal experience. You're laughing, you're in dread the whole time, and sometimes you laugh out of fear. And I think it really works with the room full of other people. And given the fact that I watch it with other press members, sometimes it's hard to satisfy them. But yeah, this room was full of press people, and we were laughing and jumping in our seats, and it was a great experience. So it's a great communal experience that a few movies need to enjoy. By far, it's not a great movie, but it's a very entertaining movie. There's some points where you have to suspend disbelief. You see this in the trailer, so I'm just going to say it. She gets bitten or grabbed by an alligator, not once but twice, and how she survives is a miracle. The fact that she's a strong swimmer might be is her saving grace. So you got to suspend belief a couple of times because as we've heard, the grip of the alligator's jaws is immense, so you don't see how they can possibly survive that. But hey, it's a movie, it's a horror movie, and you gotta go with the flow, and there's plenty of other stuff to take your mind off of that. The CGI is pretty good, the special effects. We talked to Sam Raimi and the other producer, Craig Flores, and sometimes they use animatronics in the water, and and some of it is CGI, but they did really good with the alligators, especially when they're up close and in your face. That was pretty frightening. The hurricane, it was a little bit CGI once they get outdoors. The hurricane looks a little, skies seem a little CGI, but it doesn't take you out of the moment. Haley is played by Kaya Scandalario. That's an Italian name, I believe. And she was great in this movie. You probably recognize her if you've watched the Maze Runner movies. She was in the trilogy. And also, her breakthrough was in the British series Skins. I don't know if you've heard of that show, but it's pretty controversial. And it launched a lot of careers. And I have yet to see that. I have put that on my binge list. I hear that's very, very good. Julia Roberts told us once that was one of her favorite shows. And you really root for her. And, you know, she carries the film very well. And she has these big old doughy eyes. Reminded me of another actress. I can't think of her name right now. But she was good. And she carried the film very well. Barry Pepper was also very good and believable. And there's some emotion in the film. So I highly recommend this movie to people who like the horror thriller genre, who are Sam Raimi fans. I think you won't be disappointed. He's the producer on the film, but like I said, he's got his fingerprints all over it. And if you're interested in more creature features, check out Lake Placid. This movie is very campy, it's funny, it's hilarious. I loved it when it came out. I think maybe 20 years ago. Stars Bill Pullman. And Betty White is great in it, like always. She is hilarious. And it's basically about a mutant crocodile who has grown twice the size of any normal crocodile. And he's living in the lake and terrorizing people and killing them. And that's just a really good time. And that's what this movie reminded me of, is having a good time in the movie theater. That's why you need to see it with an audience, have that communal experience. And same thing goes for other Sam Raimi films, which I'm going to recommend. Watch Drag Me to Hell if you haven't seen it. That is such an awesome film. He does things with like everyday things that you dread, like a fly going in your mouth and infecting you with something. Oh, it's so gross. But that's a masterpiece. Also, The Gift is also another good Sam Raimi film. It stars Cate Blanchett, Keanu Reeves as a bad guy. He's a wife beater, and he lives in the swamp. So he's the perfect villain in this movie. We haven't seen Keanu Reeves like this in a long time. And what other movie? Evil Dead, if you haven't seen it, if you like campy, if you're just discovering it. Most horror fans already seen it because it's a classic. So there you go. Crawl, I highly recommend. And I've given you suggestions for other movies that you might want to check it out. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about Crawl.